Hello. So I've been taking quite a strong interest in the Marilyn Manson case, and I've just finished watching the two-part HBO special. Um, and here's some notes that I just picked up on it. Obviously, my name's Scott. No, none of you know me, but I've been through quite a similar situation. Um, in the like in a parental alienation um, kind of sense, um, and the person I was with was just as fantastical and make believe as um, Evan Rachel Wood is. Um, Obviously, all views are my own. Um, yeah, right. Let's jump in. Right, Phoenix Act. Part one. Ilma scenes, they are carbon copies, leather jackets and Doc Martens. Um, yeah, it's struck me as strange. She seems like a comedian. If you put her with the rockers, she's a rocker. And then it will go to a scene where she looks like Little House on the Prairie. You know, problems within her family growing up, arguing, which is a part of every family. Seems like this affected her deeply. Now she's trying to be the hero, so no one has to go through such hardship. Um, Everyone has different levels of tolerance, and I'm not taking away anything from that. Evan and her mother fled North Carolina to LA, almost as if they were in imminent danger. Mother just as dramatic. Yeah, it's very, very strange. Chateau Marmont, when they met Evan. When they met, Evan was a baby, 19-year-old baby. Okay. Her mother said Manson knew her from the film 13, implying he likes the underage. When of course she was 19. Next scene was Vagina Octopus. Um, she claims she didn't know about herself, so she took a look and she didn't like it. And then she looked at a porno mag in the street. And then she ended up liking it and saying it was great and she was empowered by it. Um, really unsure of the point she was trying to make there. um, right, next. Ilma is a mildly spoken person. The brains. Um, the brains usually says very little. Um, she finishes Wood's sentences as if she were present when the alleged abuse was happening. Yeah, it's odd. Right. Drinking blood, that's definitely a thing. It's clear she wasn't forced into doing this because if you were, you would contact the police immediately. You wouldn't wait 10 years. Yep, that's fair. Drinking blood, that's definitely a thing. Actually, in part two, something I haven't written down, I'll just go to that. In part one, she says drinking blood, that's definitely a thing. In part two, when she's at the survivors meeting, she says, drinking blood, I didn't know that was a thing. So, I don't know. Heart-shaped glasses video. First rape. If you were raped, would you start a 4-year relationship post-rape? Yeah, it's very strange. Right, here's something. Here's something. I don't know how she can have any evidence of. He really hates women. Brian really hates women. What, all women? He's had different girlfriends and he's treated you know he's probably worked with women. I saw he met one of his fans at one of his art shows in Los Angeles, and he said, why don't you come and work for me? And it's a very far fetched, outspoken statement, and I kind of believe it's possibly like a mirror syndrome. Um, Right, where am I? Possibly mirror syndrome. I believe Evan hates men. I think that is much more likely. Um, by the end of part two, she starts, sellotaping her fractured relationship with her father. Um, and the videos in early in part one, when they're playing as children, he seemed like a devoted father, happy family man. You don't know what went on, but I certainly don't believe that he was like wild, and there was no evidence of that. So there was obviously issues. Maybe she wasn't accepted. Maybe she wasn't noticed enough as a child. Um, right, next, how did it take 10 years to realise she was abused? Repressed memories. Yeah, it's crazy the fact that she wanted to wait 10 years. Um, 10 years. It's a long time, and that's obviously why she wanted to change the what was it called, the statute of limitations. Actually, yeah, I've just skipped past that one. Statute of limitations, I believe, was 3 years. The Phoenix Act wanted to extend it to 10. Ironic considering the time span. They settled. They settled for between 7 and 10, which is fine if it's like historic. Um, but she was an adult at the time, and she's saying she's scared of repercussions and things like that. But there wasn't one bit of evidence, apart from her saying, "Oh, he wanted to kick me and bite me." Um, you know, and like hair pulling, like she said they were into vanilla sex. Um, Even people that like vanilla sex pull hair. Um, I don't know. It's his word against hers. Um, it's something very difficult to prove. Just like the heart shaped glasses video. And then she's pushing the Hitler thing, claiming he's anti-Semitic. It's crazy. He used Hitler's imagery because it evokes a mix of emotions, non-positive, and add on from this. I'm just adding to this. Look at the recent Astro World tragedy with Travis Scott and David. I think it's David LaChapelle. They use imagery of goats and pentagrams, and if you do this, you're automatically a devil worshipper in your personal life. You know, Travis Scott got the same thing. On all the forums and all the social posts I saw, Travis Scott wanted those young people to die, which is, I don't know. I don't know. It's very unfortunate. Um, Human trafficking. The human trafficking section. She's on her laptop, and there's a pie chart, and it's funny because the chart said everything she's alleging. Human traffickers. They give people drugs. They brand people. They love bomb. Like, she goes into more detail about that in the second one. Love bombing. You know, it just it seems like he genuinely cared about her, and he said, I can't live without you, and this and that. Um, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Um, I thought the human trafficking related to Esme Bianco, which is laughable. She flew from London to LA on her own accord. She's on Game of Thrones. She's not a Romanian prostitute who's been promised a life of luxury, being pimped 10 times a day. That is human trafficking. At the end of the episode is a disclaimer. March 2nd, 2022. Warner files defamation suit, citing emotional stress against Gore and Wood, which is very good that they added this. Part 2, first sentence, Dan Cleary outs Manson. This Dan Cleary, I haven't watched his clips yet. But I will be watching those. But I did hear on Colonel Kurtz that he wasn't involved with Manson for a very long period. Floods of tears followed by smirking. Evan Rachel Wood, mother again, is ridiculous. Survivors. This word really troubles me. They're in a survivor group, just like my ex went to. We never even had an argument. It's beyond me. They're still playing on the age difference. She was acting since she was 5. She's hardly a sheltered little girl. Yeah, she would have been, just look at Drew Barrymore and all the, I don't know if she was in Hollywood, I don't know what age, but she certainly would have been seen things that young people shouldn't have seen. So she wasn't all, scene with Dan Cleary, first scene. Dan, he has the capability to clone phones. Evan Rachel Wood. I've seen him hack laptops, blackmail. He's hacked me. He's monitoring my every move. Where's the evidence or an example? And why would he do that? Like, he was busy. If he wasn't being a rock star, like doing his job, he was enjoying life, enjoying the fruits. Twiggy enters documentary immediately portrayed as the ringleader, the bad apple who led Manson along as if he wasn't capable of making his own decisions. Another survivor scene, jilted ex-crew. So it's all the people that have worked with him before and have been let go, or have some kind of vendetta against him. And in this survivor scene, we all have brands. Oh my god, we all have brands. I've got an M on my leg. I've got an M on my hip. You chose to do it. Like, that seems to be something consistent through these episodes. These adults, consenting adults, are doing things, and then years later deciding that they're either too good for Manson or that they, wish they didn't do them. It's hindsight, Jesus Christ, if everyone was like that, there's a lot of things in my life I wish I didn't do. I'd be in a different situation now, but I don't know. Right, where are we? Military tactics. In the survivors' meeting, they're all saying they were gross when recounting their drug years. Did this just a little bit. He hadn't allowed her to eat or sleep or go out. Clear signs of drug abuse. Yeah, apparently she missed jobs and different things because she was having a good time. She was forced to have a good time. ERW claims he's cutting their drugs with meth, then he would rape her unconscious body. Crazy. Okay. Maybe not. I don't know. Ashley Smith line, looking like a bag of bones. What did I watch her in? I watched her in a People. I think it was the People interview. She looked quite well and healthy, and then saw her in another interview when she was wide-eyed, sat next to her lawyer. What did she say? He treated me like a animal. Like, what the... right. Evan's aunt goes to Evan Rachel Wood's residence to rescue her after a fall. She fell over outside, probably a result of drugs. Aunt is armed with a pistol. It takes Evan 10 years to pluck up courage to bring this to light. So her aunt can go to Manson's residence. I don't know whether he was there or not, with a pistol, and apparently Evan needs, witness protection to to say this stuff. It's pretty crazy. Her family said get a restraining order. She refused it. Uh, Imagery in that scene depicted Manson similar to the Slender Man. Okay, you know, I just don't have anything to say about that particular. It's just so far fetched and idiotic. Uh, he tied me up and hit me with a Nazi whip because I'm a Jew. Particularly funny segment because of how ridiculous it is. These survivor meetings should be renamed Narcissists Empowerment Groups. Hear my story, nod and agree. We are still alive. Amen. You know, that's how it is. Um, I don't know. Just take what you want from it and make up your own mind. Um, let's have a look. I gave him all the options. He didn't like any birth control option. It's ridiculous. Manson didn't want children. That's what I would have assumed. And there would be absolutely no reason for him to object to this. And then she mentions spermicides, spermicides, which I believe are part of a rape kit. I think I've seen it on CSI once, but I think she's just trying to get that little fact in there. She admits she was taking antidepressants, and she said she was on a tour bus, not Manson's, for another rock group, and she's taken loads of drugs. And she got outside the bus and she said, "I think I'm going to die today." And then she said she broke a glass in the bathroom and started digging at her wrists. I believe this is fictitious. She claims she was digging at her wrists with a broken glass. She claims the blood kept stopping. If she was on a stimulant like cocaine or meth, and she was digging at her wrists with any kind of force, the blood would have been flowing very heavy and very fast. So I think that was just a cry for help. She calls her mum, and they take her to the mental health unit. Uh, Multiple mentions of red flags and gaslighting between both parts. Yeah, so in between parts 1 and 2, she mentions red lights and gaslighting at least twice each. I don't see any evidence of this. From someone who has been gaslit, I guess that's the word. I don't know. I think you could look into this case for 10 years and not see any sign of that. She claims no responsibility for being a drug addict, writes drugged on her portrait of like a watercolor portrait of what Manson had made, and there was like 20 or 30 other things on this. Like, in her mind, she's just made this as if she were living in hell. Very strange. Somewhere in the south, you know, God knows when this documentary was made. I just don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't just say, Mississippi, Florida. It would be interesting to see what she was treated for in the mental institution. Months of paranoia, evidence. Where is the evidence that you were being stalked? And at one point, Ilma Gore called her up and she was on the phone and she was like, "Yeah, I think you should leave now." And she's like, "Oh, really? Oh my God, okay." So she gets her phone chargers and her hairbrush. She's looking around, and then she gets in her car and she's driving down the street, 30 miles an hour. But it's almost as if, run. You're in, the snipers are outside on the roofs. I don't know. Right, back to the heart-shaped glasses video. Claims she was sex trafficked because they were on drugs. At no point is there evidence showing her uncomfortable or refusing to engage. and then obviously what happens afterwards doesn't match up to, with what she was saying happened. Particularly funny part, uh, after she takes her son somewhere in the south, South Wales, South Antarctica. She's it's like a Christmas scene, and she's got this. I should have really researched this more. It's a Jewish candle, and she's lighting the candles with her son, singing Hanukkah, Hanukkah. Um, I Colonel Kurtz. I was watching it, and I don't even think she's Jewish. Her mother is, but it just felt like she'd never done that before in her life. Yeah, it was almost like a kumbaya, like guitars round a fire. It's very showy. Um, then at the staged FBI meeting, um, it was interesting watching Colonel Kurtz. Obviously, that they didn't show any agents, and that was obviously a staged bit. Um, yeah, it's mind-boggling, mind-boggling. And she's saying, they're not working fast enough, and they're not doing enough, and I don't have this time, and I want to do it now, and it's taken me forever, and I'll do it in my own time. And then she claims Brian's a flight risk, but they'd get him. If he flew to Japan, is something she said. If he flew to Japan, he wouldn't be able to run forever. They would get him. Um, he's not Epstein. He's not like he's not like a international terrorist. He's you've alleged for him to do things. He's not on the FBI's most wanted. And I think watching these episodes, it kind of, there's very little to back up these claims. But on the other hand, them forging the FBI letter and sending it to the family court, Ilmagor, the right hand man, and there's a whole number of other things. What was it? The FBI letter, them crusading, trying to. Honestly, this week I've had the week off, and I've been through it so many times, and there's so many like irregularities within anything that seems to have any kind of sense whatsoever. So that was the end of part two. If you haven't watched it, I think you should watch it, and you can kind of see like it just feels like, I don't know, like a big act. Like she's been training her whole life for this. That's only my personal opinion. My what I think is wrong with her is like a borderline personality disorder. It's as if she can't decipher between her Hollywood life and her real life. Everything is so far-fetched and fantastical. Yeah, so throughout throughout the two parts, she's having conversations, like really deep conversations, and the conversations are deep as long as she's talking about what she wants to talk about, and people will reinforce her, which in a way is natural. But she goes from, she's quiet and shy, and then she's the most confident person in the world. And she just goes from like, it's like waves, like any mention of anything, she breaks down and floods of tears. Give her a hug 2 seconds later. It's yeah, it's a bit mind bending, but I'm not going to say too much more because I don't want to get into trouble. This video isn't monetized, and I do not care about earning any money. That is just my personal opinion. But if you could do me a favour, just click like if you enjoyed what you've seen here today. And yeah, I might make an Amber Heard Johnny Depp video at some point. All right, cheers. Have a good day, everyone, and stay away from crazy girls and boys. There's crazy guys out there too. So yeah.